Hello party people, today we're going to talk about how grifting is constantly manipulating women everywhere of all races, and if you can look at it in the face, you can stop getting manipulated.
That ain't 4C. I got 4C. My hair don't do that. That ain't 4C. This don't look like my hair, so it ain't 4C. She got a curl. That ain't 4C.
Make sure you check the link in the description box below so you can check out the live broadcast that I did with two other amazing cosmetologists. All right, now when we sit down and talk about Team Natural or the natural hair community, we are talking about a group of women who made things
two-step protein treatment, and the reason that we want to do a two-step treatment is the protein goes on separately by itself is really good for stopping breakage. You put the moisturizers and you make this on afterwards. Package is available in beauty supplies only. It's not a mass retail line, so it's available in personal outlets only. Sally Beauty Supply and other fine beauty supply stores. And we're here at Honors very excited because we're launching a new line, and it's particularly for natural hair types. With relaxed hair, you have a lot of protein loss, and your protein chemistry is important to get it back into shape. With natural hair, with naturally curly hair, protein loss isn't as big a deal, but moisture control is essential. Otherwise, you wind up with a very frizzy style that you can't control. So we're featuring our new prolific line, which has some protein. We use quinoa protein, which is a plant that has the highest protein content of any plant, higher than animal protein content. And we use a very heavy concentration of cannabis and moisturizers so that when you go out in the humid conditions, your hair doesn't react and you don't lose your style. So we're really excited. The response has been great. And of course, we like being with HAIRCARE at the show.
Great, thank you,
Today's video we're going to be talking about why I stopped combing my hair, and I'm also going to be prepping my hair for wash day.
So let me just give you a backstory of why I stopped combing my hair. I returned natural in 2017, and at that point I had little or no clue on how to care for my hair, right? I had no clue on how to care for my hair, and I was just going with the flow. So after a couple of months after returning natural, I started watching natural hair care videos on YouTube, and most of the creators will tell you use a white tooth comb when you're combing your hair, like there's all this information about white tooth comb being the best comb for natural hair, and obviously I was seeking out information and I believed them. I bought myself a wide tooth comb, and that became the beginning of my struggles. Detangling my hair was not easy.
Team Natural has tricked you guys into believing that you need to throw away your combs and brushes and just go get a whole bunch of products. All you need is your 4 fingers for over 100,000 to 400,000 strands of hair. This is what you guys have believed, and it worked for a very long time, but now things are starting to revert back like they're doing with everything else we're going to talk about in this video. But I really need y'all to get into this. Think about it.
talk about the fact that I have not used a comb in 4 years, 5 years. I haven't used a comb in 5 years. I know. But if I didn't detangle my hair fully, and to do that, I did a fine tooth comb apparently. It looks something like this. It's not the exact same one, but it was one of these fine tooth combs. Is one like this. Yeah, and I would rip through my hair because I wanted all the tangles out. So I would just go through and go through and go and go and go until I got all the tangles through. Oh, and I also detangled with this when my hair was dry. Not even when it was wet or damp. It was like I had to do it when it was bone dry. I think
Women have been doing their hair the wrong way, and when they discover something new that feels better than the wrong way, they become an expert, when in reality there's a certain process.
And at some point, when I started to really take care of my hair, I stopped using a fine tooth comb and then I switched to a wide tooth comb. This wasn't so bad. A lot of naturals to this day still use a wide tooth comb and it works fine for them, so there's nothing wrong in my opinion of using one of these, and you should be okay with it. For me, in the shower, I would use this with conditioner and I would go through my hair and gently go from ends to roots, looking through my hair and getting the tangles out. To me, it seemed as though I was getting a lot of breakage still with a wide tooth comb. Eventually, I stopped using a wide tooth comb, switched to only my fingers. So I have
It has nothing to do with the combs and everything to do with your patterns. Whether you're using your fingers or a comb or a brush, you're only supposed to detangle your hair dry because the hair is weakest when it's wet. But for vanity metrics and for a beautiful video and for the product grifting, you needed to be able to do something that was aesthetically pleasing and detangle your hair in the shower. But it has nothing to do with combs. You're not supposed to detangle your hair wet.
Hey you guys, in today's video I will be sharing my 3 reasons as to why I do not use combs on my hair anymore. Also, if you have missed my last natural hair care video, please check the link below to where I show you guys how I slick my hair back using only aloe vera gel and the 3 benefits about combs, and how I do not comb my hair. And I wanted to talk about what I do instead. So if you have already seen my wash day video, you will see me detangling my hair. And that's exactly what I do. You will see here that I just use my fingers to pull my hair apart gently to get rid of the tangles. I don't use any combs, I only use my fingers. This does take quite a bit of time, but it's worth it.
This is pure insanity because the average human being has anywhere between 100,000 to 400,000 strands protruding out of each pore, and you only have 4 fingers on each hand, so that's 8 fingers against 400,000 strands. It seems like a good idea at first, but in theory, if you just sit with it and think about it, single strand knots did not come along until you guys decided to stop using combs and brushes and just go ahead and use your fingers, right? When you go across YouTube and you look at videos where they're saying combs and brushes are bad, every last woman who has this opinion was using the tool wrong. A rat tail comb is only for detailing. As a professional cosmetologist, you use the tail for your parting, and we would use the teeth of the comb for something like a silk press where we're guiding the comb down. There's no knotting or tangling, but we are never removing knots and tangles with a rat tail comb. And if you do, you have a very specific technique that you've learned from a master who's been doing this for 30 plus years. But you guys, it is not rocket science to use combs and brushes. And the thing is, these videos that I'm showing you guys are over 4 or 5 years old. So these are the type of people that you guys have been following to get you into this situation. And as they tell you, right, as they're telling you, oh, only use your fingers, they're like, well, make sure you get an oil or make sure you get a conditioner. You need products, right? So it's not just, oh, you have this amazing technique, you're replacing one thing for 25 other things. These are things that y'all really need to think about. None of it makes sense, and black women are the only people who believe this stuff. Again, I want you to look at her hair, because this is what she's saying Maelle Organics did to her hair. But when we look at our practices and the things that we put on our scalp, we're not talking about combing anymore. We're talking about follicle death that happens when you play in oils and butters like YouTubers told you to in the grifting era.
Sir, but because of my past experience that currently happened with the mild product, my hair is extremely damaged and very fragile and really thin. So I will not be relaxing my hair anytime soon. I'm currently just working on the health and the quality and the thickness of my hair before applying any form of relaxer to my hair. For the past 2 months, I have been wearing a lot of protective styles like wigs mainly. So what I did, I cornrow my hair and apply my DIY hair growth oil to my roots and massage it in, and if I need to go out, I wear a wig. And I just keep repeating these steps. Every 4 weeks, I will loose my cornrows out, wash my hair, and I just cornrow it back and apply my growth oil to my scalp almost every night. Not every night, but I try to do it as often as possible. And this is the rosemary and aloe vera growth oil. If you guys haven't seen that video, I made a video.
Now, constantly, you guys are hearing one thing quite a bit: aloe vera and oil. And y'all, it's for a reason. You guys have been listening to the same exact people. You guys have been putting olive oil and aloe vera in your scalp for decades, and then, like I always say, everything works until it doesn't. And because of this grifting, because there are all of these people who have never been to school, who are making things up, they have no idea what they're causing, because all they're looking at is things at face value, at a vanity metrics. It was a great conversation we had last night, but one thing we talked about is the fact that you look at the end result, at the end all be all, like it's the whole thing, meaning you look at the actual hairstyle as the thing that is supposed to be all what cosmetology is about, and that's not it. That's the end result. But there's so much more as it pertains to your scalp health, so much more as it pertains to the health of your hair shaft. But one thing that black women don't want to talk about is it's never been about hair care. It's never been about the health of your scalp. It's never been about that. It's always been about what products you can use to make your curls pop the most. What products and patterns can you do to make sure your patterns and routines reflect a curlier texture or really defined curls. There is a video that I saw of a woman saying that the only reason that she doesn't comb her hair is the main reason she doesn't comb her hair is because when she combs her hair, her curls are not as defined. I need y'all to think about that. It's never been about hair care. It's never been about what's best for your hair. And a lot of y'all are not going to want to hear this, but black women are some of the only women on the face of the earth that argue about combing and brushing their hair. When you see, like when you go into Cosmoprof, there are more combs than you can count. If somebody was to ask me to give them an exact number of how many different types of combs and brushes there are, I would not be able to give you a number, because it's an infinite number, y'all. And the combs and brushes that y'all are picking are wrong. Even the combs that you guys that they've displayed in these videos are wrong. And moreover, if you're combing your hair on a regular basis, you shouldn't have knots and tangles to begin with. To believe that the only day that you have to comb your hair is on wash day is crazy, and it's the reason for all of your tangles, for all of your single strand knots, and it's the reason why your hair is so weak. There is an epicutical layer of the hair shaft, and if it is not massaged on a regular basis, if it's not strengthened by getting proper oxygen flow, by being combed, by the hair being properly stretched with no breaks and no bends, then you are gonna notice some damage. And this is something that I really want everybody to think about. The grifters have you so freaking mad and so rage and race baited that you can't think.
So that was a f***ing lie.
Talking about, thin privilege. I was like, this thin privilege thing sounds pretty great. I'm gonna go get me some of that no matter how much it costs. And I got a personal trainer.
Yesterday I had a blog on Mutual who had posted a video that I at first thought was satire. Like, they were talking about their journey from body positivity into fat acceptance as like a delusion that they were holding.
Has anyone noticed the uptick in fat or plus size people doing weight loss content recently?
So many body positive advocates are now posting about intentional weight loss.
Every single show you do, you wear the same tired button down that you seemingly own in 5 different colors and just tie it up in the front thinking it's cute. And let me clarify my tone. I mean this to be rude.
I am just going to treat every fat creator who has freshly turned into a weight loss influencer as if they've died.
Have an experience of trauma. Again, we might feel out of control, powerless, and helpless. Trauma can really prime us to develop all kinds of maladaptive patterns. And eating disorders really can operate in the same way. People can use them to numb, to get out of a feeling, or for some it's to create a different feeling state. But for all of them, you know, that common thread is that underlying anxiety or pain or discomfort, that suffering that they're trying to alleviate.
Now, I'm not going to get too much into this because I am not a nutritionalist, but I want y'all to pay attention to the parallel. How at first food was just something that we did because we needed to. And then, you know, we had a little bit of the mukbangs and that was okay. But then after that, that wasn't enough. There was a whole community and a whole like type of thinking, like cult-like behavior where people just grouped together and like they would argue with a dietitian like, oh, being fat and being overweight, that doesn't mean that you're unhealthy. You can still be healthy at 600 pounds. This is how. And then it just exploded everywhere. And if anybody says anything, you are shaming somebody or you don't care about anybody. Nobody is ever allowed to speak truth. It's no longer allowed. It's crazy.
Thousands of barbers and hairstylists all across the state are pushing representatives to vote no on a new House bill.
That piece of legislation would allow someone to cut hair or perform skincare without a license. As CBS 4's Mike Sullivan tells us, the professionals say it will eliminate trust in their industry.
On Main Street in Zionsville, you'll find Amber McDowell at Kimberly's Hair Design.
Hardest parts of a men's cut essentially is the blending.
Behind those shears is far more than the minimum 1,500 hours necessary for a license to cut hair.
We have spent years and tons, thousands of dollars perfecting our craft.
Yet as they unravel the tinfoil, they believe newly proposed state legislation may unravel their industry.
Right now, everybody's angry.
It's called House Bill 1364. Eliminating the requirement for any stylist, cosmetologist, or esthetician to need a license to operate.
You want to be a plumber? You gotta go to school.
Per the bill, an employee must disclose if they aren't licensed and maintain health and safety standards.
We feel like it devalues our industry.
Particularly when it comes to sanitation. McDowell is saying it's a large part of the education process.
It's hard enough for an amateur to cut hair, let alone use hazardous chemicals. A nick or cut could lead to hidden dangers without sanitation training.
Funguses, staph, all the things that can be transmitted if the sanitation isn't done appropriately.
From her chair,
No, I wouldn't.
Laura Judson is pretty clear on if she would see an unlicensed stylist.
While there are so many talented amateurs out there, there are also a lot of people who maybe have a little bit more confidence in their own ability.
Judson admitting there could be far less risk in a men's cut.
Me having my hair all burned off or cut off that will take me 3 years to grow back out.
There's a petition out, and we're close to 36,000 signatures to stop the bill.
The creators citing concerns like infections, burns, serious bodily harm. In Zionsville, I'm Mike Sullivan, CBS 4 News.
I'm sick of it! First y'all getting back alley basement veneers. Now y'all are letting lash techs put UV light on your eyeball. Are you idiot? How much of an idiot are you? You literally are going to be blind and have cancer in the next 24 hours. It's a UV light. You're not even supposed to look at and you let this put it directly on your eyeball for what? Some 24 millimeters?
We're trying the new UV technology.
Ooh, you feel it?
Ooh, yeah, that was hot.
Really?
Try to do it.
I felt it.
This is another thing a lot of people are not going to want to hear. Just like you guys just heard, there was a whole law in legislation that was passed that said anybody who wants to get up and do lashes can do them. You don't have to have any type of scientific backing, no training or anything like that. So it was like, screw being an esthetician. And that's why you have all of these crazy, dramatic, unnecessary, weird looking extensions, because people don't even understand what happens to the lashes when you do something this heavy. And they definitely don't understand what happens when you use a UV light on it, because they're not scientists, they're playing.
If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I've shared a few videos on my opinions on the UV LED light craze for doing lash extensions. Just for those that don't know, it's a lash glue that's cured by UV or LED light. And the whole industry's going crazy over it for the last maybe 8 months. And over those 8 months, I've shared various videos giving my opinions based on the information that I had at the time. Up until my last video that I did, which was basically just saying that it's completely inevitable. No matter the risks, no matter the safety involved, that dream of quicker, better, no reactions, all of that stuff is just taking people's attention. But I'll happily give you my opinion as of right this second. And I want to start by showing you this thing right here. This is the latest development in the LED lights that cure lash glue. This is the latest one that we're looking into. Now, for the record, the glue itself is no more dangerous than any other normal lash glue. So the question of safety is nothing to do with the liquids involved. They're as safe or as dangerous as just normal lash extensions. The issues come from this thing here. And like I said, I'll happily tell you where I'm at with this thing. Over the last 8 months, I've been on a huge journey of education as well as testing. And the truth is, it's all about finding a trusted source for your information rather than just accepting what somebody says. Now, who you trust and what you believe is going to be different for everyone. For example, I have now spoken with 5 different manufacturers, 3 from China, 1 from Germany, and 1 in the UK. I have also been in contact with 2 different medical professionals that are not linked to the lash industry at all, but they have expertise in this, your eyes. Oh, and 1 that deals specifically with everything to do with cancers. And here's what I found. The 3 that I spoke to in China have sent us all of the different light options they do. Again, I think I showed a couple of them in a previous video. There's one that looks like a pen, there's the swan neck thing that you see, there's one that goes around your wrist, which is honestly pointless, and there's one that clamps to your bed. Now, the most important thing about these lights is getting the safety information. Can the manufacturers give us a certificate to say that this passes any sort of safety tests that are required for a light like that to be going this close to the eye or even in and around the eye? And do you know what happened? The 3 different manufacturers all emailed me the identical safety assessment certificate that was also on a Word document. So you could just edit it as you please. And when you search into the company that did the testing, allegedly for all 3 of these companies, you cannot get any information from them as to this test. And just for a bit more clarity, the dates of testing on these certificates were all exactly the same as well. The signatures that have been sort of like inserted on there, a random alleged handwriting copy and pasted in, it's all identical, which is a massive red flag straight away. But what's happening in our industry is unknowing lash artists or lash brands that want to bring this to market, they may ask for the safety assessments and that manufacturer may send them that exact certificate. And because they don't know any better and obviously they happen to just trust the manufacturer, they say, oh, thank you very much, it's obviously safe, they get it in and they start selling it. So moving on to the German and the UK manufacturers. They have been working on this system for as long as anybody. And did you know, to this day, they still have not had it passed through any safety assessment tests. And the UK manufacturer specifically happens to be our lash glue manufacturer as well. So we have a good relationship with them. And you know, I mentioned earlier about who you trust. Well, I trust them. And they're just as shocked as we are that this thing is already as big as it is. And through my conversations with the medical professionals, I've had a few lessons in light wavelengths, UV, LED, so I now know more than I ever did 8 months ago. You can also find online, which again, I don't know how trustworthy they are, but you can find online different industrial studies and tests for health and safety for UV equipment. Because at the end of the day, UV cured glue is used in the industrial industry already. It's already used, it already exists. This isn't like brand new. So when you balance it all together, if the machine itself is set to a certain standard, that can be tested and proven. And if all proper precautions are taken, which means protecting the top lid of the client, lash tech must be wearing a protective goggles because they're the ones staring at it all day, and there can only be a certain time frame of exposure per person per day. If all of those are met, then there is an argument to say that it is a good product that can work. But what's going on in our industry right now, and all the different lights that are around, that all have the same safety assessment tests, that come with no further education, no manuals on how to use it properly and safely, no disclaimer forms that explain the risks involved, and instead just a lot of marketing buzzwords that really sell the dream to lash artists, we're in a very, very scary and risky position.
The fact that people have the audacity to try to tell people that have encountered any kind of poop butt situation, poop out of butt situation, to just clean it up or move on. The amount of dismissal that comes to this, it really irritates me, because there is no support system for estheticians to deal with this, specifically in this space. But you bathe before you get a Brazilian wax, you can scroll. For those of you who are not sure if you have body odor or you are offending your Brazilian waxer, let's get into it. This esthetician says, once I got a client doing a full body and she had green discharge. I had to leave the room because I couldn't hold my breath anymore because of the smell. Here's things that are very subtle that...
Before she tell y'all the little tips that they do to get around the smell, why would you come into someone's office and put that on somebody's table and open that up for somebody? Like, you nasty. That's nasty.
We will do as a Brazilian waxer. Number one, we will wear something under our nose. It'll be Vicks Vapor Rub, it'll be essential oils, it'll be something in a balm. We'll put it right underneath our nose, you won't even know. We actually learn how to do mouth breathing so we don't breathe through our nose, so we have no scent coming in there and changing how our facial will change when that scent becomes offensive.
The same way that women carry themselves when they go see an esthetician is the same way they carry themselves at the hair salon. This is not a different group of women, okay? This is not a different group of women. It is laziness and a lack of accountability that needs to change. And I love it. 2024, we putting it on blast, baby. Go wash up. Wash your ass, okay? Wash it. This is...
One go-to for stinky feet was to put an essential oil-based towel over your feet, especially a warm towel, and let it sit there the entire service because your feet smell. Another thing that I would also do is I would have a fan blowing on you to blow your body odor away from me and towards you, so that you would be able to smell what I'm smelling, all while still breathing out of my mouth. Another thing that I have is my amazing Funk Buster. Funk Buster cuts all funk. It actually is my #1 product during spring and summer, specifically for Brazilian waxers or anybody who's in the waxing space who wants to cut offensive odors, or we don't want the next client to smell the last client. That lemongrass Funk Buster will cut it. It'll smell brand spanking new. Poop has moved outside of the poop butt space.
Yeah.
If you don't want to hear any of my content, you can totally scroll. For those of you who are here for our content and this conversation, you can absolutely stay. Let's get into it. This esthetician says, the first time I saw poop inside someone's labia, I about died. The poop conversation during a Brazilian wax is not an easy conversation. As much as we try to kind of stay professional, once poop moves into other spaces, especially into the labia space, that's a different type of conversation. And of course, we obviously can't really proceed with the service. I mean, the thing about it is when we start talking about hygiene levels and cleansing and what we provide for people to use, and most of them refuse to use it, you know, there's a lot of comments that, oh, you should have a bidet. The bidet can only work if people use the bidet. A lot of people will decline using the restroom, cleaning themselves, using anything that we provide, they decline it. So when it's presented in this way, just like this, now we have to take the conversation to a different space. Some people are okay with it, especially if it really depends on the way it's delivered. Some people become offended. Some people will say it's shaming. But in order for us to do an amazing service and not cause irritation because there's fecal matter in other spaces outside of the anus, when there is other people's body fluids in that space and we're trying to do work, sometimes we're not even able to provide the entire service.
So I need you to think about it. Even though a lot of people are not going to want to hear this, when we see things like, oh, cosmetologists or hairstylists are requiring you to come with your hair already shampooed. Now you have two different groups of people who do that. The first group are the women who don't have a license, so it's illegal for them to shampoo your hair. But then sometimes when I was standing behind the chair, I would literally have women try to sit in my chair, and the first time anybody's going to be washing their hair in 9 months is when I do it, and I have videos to prove it. But it's crazy because women think that just because you are a service provider that you also went to school to learn how to treat hair, or in this case a booty hole of somebody who doesn't bathe and who doesn't have proper hygiene, when in reality going to an esthetician or a cosmetologist or a makeup artist, anything is something that you do that's extra, but the everyday maintenance is left up to you. And the fact that most women feel like they don't have to do the everyday maintenance and that we should just take it as service providers is insane. Look in the mirror, y'all.
Okay, I'm not doing this video to be mean. I just need advice on what the fuck you would have done
Let us know.
in this situation. So I'm a waxer. I do Brazilian waxing, and all of my 4 years of waxing, this has not ever happened. So I don't know what to do. So I'm waxing. I'm all traumatized. So I'm waxing my client, and I'm doing her cleanups for her labias. I already did the first strips and I didn't notice. Now whenever I'm doing the cleanups, there's like something there. I didn't know if it was like her, like just part of like her labias or what. So like I ignored it. And so I pull the wax strip off. A turd flies to the end of the bed. And I'm just like staring, like, she didn't ask what it was, thankfully. Like I didn't know what the fuck to do. So I'm just like looking at it and like I just try to play it off. And so I get a paper towel.
I'm sorry.
And I wrap it up into a million fucking times. Throw it in the trash. It smells so bad. It's like human fucking shit. And the whole time, like, my eyes are burning. Like, I'm, like, gagging, like, inside. And, like, I just stopped talking. Like, I just couldn't talk. Because the smell was so fucking good. Oh, my God. And I swear to God, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not being mean or anything. I just need advice. What would you do? I don't think it'll ever happen again. But I am not even joking now. After she left, I fucking threw up. I was in the bathroom, I threw up a little bit. It wasn't like, but like I kept gagging so much, like it was like stomach acid. Like I was so shocked.
As many people have commented on my video, right?
Okay.
I have messages from people in my inbox. You're bound by HIPAA. You're bound by confidentiality. Nope. They brought the poop
name
and left it after they left. So I don't name any names. And unfortunately, many of you are telling on yourselves because you're in my inbox or you're leaving comments saying you can't talk about that. She came to you in confidence. No, she brought poop butt to me.
This is a collective energy. It is a collective issue, a collective problem. It's not just in the hair industry. It is at any industry where somebody outside of you is responsible for helping you or aiding you in taking care of things that you should already be taking care of at home. For example, your dentist is an extension of your everyday patterns and routines. Whether you go to a dentist on a regular basis, yearly, like they recommend you to, or a couple of times a year like you're supposed to, then it doesn't matter as long as you are brushing your teeth and you have proper practices at home. The way that women treat their hair, especially my people is who I'm talking to, the way we treat our hair is crazy. If you treated your teeth the same way, you would literally not have any. Maybe that's why the stuff with the veneer techs and things of that nature is going on. But y'all, like, it is insanity. Your dentist is just supposed to help you, like, make sure that everything that you've been doing in your systems is going good as it pertains to your dental hygiene and your dental health. And if you have any problems, any holes or anything, then that's when you get the fillings and the crowns. And if you have crowding, that's when you get in braces or Invisalign and things of that nature. But the everyday maintenance is up to you. And when it comes to the whole beauty field in general, the field of cosmetology, because as a cosmetologist, you could do everything from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet. That's why I touch on all of these topics, because I'm a cosmetologist that just chose hair and skin. But like, you could do whatever you want to do. I could have been a cosmetologist that only did nails, right? But what is crazy about it is when you look at the industry, everybody's confused. The water is so muddy because nobody's sticking to the science. Everybody's just making up stuff, throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks. And the things that stick are the things that go viral. Then they make product after product after product. But now in 2024 is the year of the endings. All of this stuff is ending. Like all of the bigger influencers, the food influencers, they're all losing weight. Even like your favorite food reviewers on YouTube are like, hey, I have diabetes now. Hey, I have these issues now. I can't do this anymore. I'm about to change some things around. Hope you guys like it. You're not supposed to do this. You're supposed to do that. And it's just straight across the board. But the one thing that everybody's going to be forced to do is have some accountability, because now the people who got you in this position are letting you know that they didn't know what they was talking about. So now you are in the same position that you were in before you started listening to them. But now, not only do you still not know what you're doing, now you have to repair all the damage that was caused to your hair from listening to them. Every video that you see on YouTube and on social media will not be an educational video teaching you what to do. Like, everything won't be like that, because truth be told, any profession that you're in or anything that is of real truth and value, you have to pay for. Hell, we live on the water planet and you pay a water bill every month. The earth is 70%, over 70% water, but you pay a water bill every month. Things of value will take a little bit of time, and it's not necessarily going to be free. And the more freely people are giving you BS information, all you have to do is this. All you have to do is this. Buy this product and you'll be great. These are things that you need to pay attention to. These are things that you have to listen to. And the easy way is not always the best way. And we have to be at a place where we stop being so soft and we're able to hold ourselves accountable, because how many black women, or not just black women, sorry, not this next section isn't just for black women, how many women can really be honest and look people in the face and say, yeah, I don't wash my ass enough before I go to the esthetician? I'm not one of those women, but the estheticians that I know and talk to and the ones that are online have more women with poor hygiene than they do women with good hygiene. But when we make YouTube videos about it, everybody acts like it's this foreign thing. But when you really think about it, if you're okay going 6 or 7 months without shampooing your hair, what is the problem with you going to see an esthetician without washing or wiping your butt properly? These are things that I need y'all to think about, because it's deeper than that. It's way deeper than hair. It's way deeper than your weight. It's way deeper than skincare. Like, really, like, y'all going with boo-boo in y'all stuff and ready for a wax, and these women are not lying. They're not lying. They're not. I worked at a studio salons where the majority of the women that I worked around were estheticians, and they would be like, "Seeing, come look at this," and then they would be like, I always knew when it was some BS, because they would still have their gloves on and they would have their mask on, and they would be like, look, and I could see a brown streak on their beds. This was a regular occurrence. But then when we bring it up online, you get attacked. When the professionals get online and say, hey, do this before you come. Hey, don't do this. Okay, this is how you practice proper hygiene, or this is how you do this. Then we're attacked. And then after you get done attacking the people that are trying to help you, then you get online and cry racism, that the reason that you move like this, or the reason that you do the things that you do, is because our ancestors were slaves. I'm sorry, they weren't lazy like this. I can guarantee you that. And these are the things that we have to think about. These are the things that we have to be accountable for. We are in this energy of everything that somebody says to us has to make us feel good. It has to make us tingly and on the inside part and saying our name. And it's not always going to be like that, beloved. Like sometimes somebody's going to tell you, girl, that's dumb. Sometimes somebody's going to say, girl, that stink. Girl, you need to wash your ass. If y'all are leaving boo-boo streaks on the esthetician's table, which I have seen myself, there is no way that y'all have proper hygiene. And that is mirroring the way that you do everything else. Even some estheticians that do lash extensions are noticing that their clients are having massive infections in their lashes because they don't have proper hygiene. So y'all, instead of arguing with your esthetician, instead of arguing with a cosmetologist, instead of arguing with people that say things that don't necessarily make you feel good, like T was saying last night in our live, just sit with it for a minute. Don't go back and forth with me. I'm stealing that from you, T. Just sit with it for a minute. You don't have to be argumentative and want to debate or argue. Sit with it. What is going on in my life that I'm going to see an esthetician and leaving shit stains on her bed? What is going on in my life, in real life, that I'm going months and months and months without even combing my hair? What is going on in my world that I believe the things that these people are telling me without doing any research for myself? These are questions that you need to answer and ask yourself. And the last thing, we don't have to argue about it in the comments. I really want you, like T said, sit with it. Why do you find so much comfort in not combing your hair? And did you know that the majority of the women on the planet, outside of black women, are combing their hair multiple times a day? The women who have hair to their butts are combing their hair multiple times a day. I got a big one, a better one. Most women who are team natural wear wigs all the time. Okay, they wear wigs all the time. You don't comb and brush your hair, but you went and spent $200-300 on a wig that was grown out by a woman who combs and brushes her hair a couple of times a day. Can you make that make sense? These are things y'all really got to think about. You're not going to comb or brush your hair, but you're going to comb, put flexi brow. You're going to do all of this stuff to this wig, but you're not going to do nothing to your hair but wet it, let it air dry, braid it, put some oil on your scalp and slap it under a wig. Y'all need to think about it. Sit with it. All right.